Welcome to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast, where today's top influencers and entrepreneurs on the rise share empowering stories and ninja tips to become the fuel that ignites a positive change in your life. Our guests don't simply coast through life. They don't let difficult situations stop them. They set big goals, keep their eyes on the prize, and they're joining us today to share insider secrets you can use right now to step into your power and live your purpose. Now, here's your host, Christy Ruffino.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast. This is Christy Ruffino, the host of the show, and today I have the exciting opportunity to be having a conversation with Sara Goggin Young. Welcome, Sara.
Oh, Christy, thank you. Hello. I am so excited and honored to be here.
Yeah, we're going to have fun. So we met, oh my gosh. And you know what? It's really crazy because I'm not a stalker, truly, but we met because I, on Facebook, saw an image or some promotion that you did about a retreat that you hosted. And that was last year. I don't even know what month it was, but I saw the retreat. I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. I knew it wouldn't work with my schedule, but I thought, well, heck, this woman's really rocking it out there. I need to have a conversation, see what she's about. And we just kind of connected. And next thing you know, you are in our book and on our podcast and doing all kinds of amazing things.
Yes, that was my very first and sold out Power to Believe women's retreat in Riviera Maya, and we're planning the next one as we speak. Actually, I just had a couple meetings this past week. It's the month of November, so you can remove yourself from distraction and excuses. You can reset in paradise with wellness, fitness, mindset, and nutrition, and return with overall renewed energy to crush every goal you have for the remainder of 2022 and 2023.
I love that. So I will definitely want you to keep me posted on when in November that is, because if it works, I would love to attend. But that is how we connected. And you have been a pleasure to work with. I love what you're doing. I love your story. I'm going to share a little bit about your credentials really quick before we get into your story, if that's okay.
I would be honored. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Sara Goggin Young is an attorney turned life coach and keynote speaker. And I didn't know you were an attorney. That was a crazy thing when I read that. But she uses a refreshing and unique combination of mindset, nutrition, and fitness to help you transform into your best self. Sara has overcome many challenges, including 6 knee operations, addiction, and divorce using her Power to Believe Toolbox. Sara's mission is to help you get out of your head, connect with your soul, empower your life, and regain your power to believe in work, love, and life. Love that.
Thank you.
So you mentioned in your intro that you've had a lot of things to overcome. And I know in talking to you and reading your story, everything has kind of brought you to the place you're at now. But can you take a moment to share a little bit about your story?
Oh, I would love to. Thank you so much, Christy. I grew up on the west side of Chicago, and I am the oldest of 4. And our house, I had a pretty tumultuous growing up period. My parents had a pretty toxic marriage. And being the oldest, there was a lot of toxicity that went on. In fact, as we know, when we're growing up and our parents do the best they can, I did not have a good relationship with my mother. We now do, but at that time I didn't. And so there was a lot of demons. There was a lot of verbal and emotional and physical abuse. And I acted out all the time. So I was in trouble a lot. And which actually went to my favor, because when I was a freshman in high school, I was grounded for the whole first semester of high school. And my dad said, you can swim or you can play field hockey. I chose swimming and I flourished. It was the first time that movement came into my world and allowed me to get out of my head, connect with my soul, and empower my life by placing a goal and exceeding. I went into high school not knowing how to do a flip turn, and I exited as an All-American, and I was recruited all over. I ended up going to Arizona State on an athletic scholarship, which only 2% of women earn athletic scholarships to Division I schools. I have that baby tattooed right on my arm, so I remember. And I had dreams of going to the Olympics. That's what I was on track for. I trained for it. I worked for it. That was my foundation. My junior year, I had an accident that ripped the foundation of my life from underneath me, the trajectory of my life. I blew out my knee, hence the 6 knee surgeries. And I don't do anything small, Christy. I do everything big. I didn't just hurt my knee. I hyperextended and dislocated it. I ripped my ACL, PCL, MCL, LCL. I cracked my tibia, took a divot out of my femur, cracked my patella, and ripped my meniscus. I was in danger of losing my leg. But once again, movement, working out saved me because of the strength I had built in my muscles. I didn't have to amputate my leg, but my dreams were dashed. And so I came back and the doctor said I would never swim again. I rehabbed as hard as I could. And I came back and was named captain and swam my senior year, but my times just weren't the same. And then all my demons from my childhood came back, things I had never dealt with and healed from. And I was lost in a sea of negative internal dialogue. That I wasn't good enough, that I had somehow failed because I didn't reach my dreams, even though this accident had nothing to do with me. I created a story inside my head, and I did the only thing that I knew how to ease that pain, which was drinking and using. I self-medicated to quiet the pain inside, and I stopped listening to the whisper within. I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I didn't care. I was in so much pain. And that went on for about 10 years. And 10 years, in fact. I just celebrated last weekend my 18th year of sobriety.
Oh, good for you.
Thank you. There was a time when I couldn't even imagine going a day without drinking, much less a week. I remember a therapist asked me, why don't you just not drink this week? And I looked at her and I thought, do you mean Friday and Saturday? Like, it was inconceivable. And here I am 18 years later. And the reason I'm here is to let anybody know, if you're struggling, it is possible. It is possible. You just have to decide to do it and move forward and ask for help. So I went through 10 years of drinking and using, and I got to a point where I was at my lowest. And that's when my second tool came in, faith. I asked for help. I remember the day I was laying on the bed and the sun was coming in through the slatted blinds, and it was on I could feel it, and I hadn't even opened my eyes. And I didn't want to wake up. I didn't want to kill myself, but I did not want to wake up and live. And I was crying before I could even open my eyes. And I prayed and I said, God, I can't help me do your will, not mine. Show me the path and I will follow. And that day I went into treatment, and that was 18 years ago. I got married. I had 2 beautiful children. Taylor's 15. Ryan is 13 right now. So freshman or sophomore and 8th grader. So I'm entering in those teenage years, man. I will tell you, I rely on my toolbox on a daily basis. And so I started to live my life, but it wasn't making sense. You know, I was doing the next right thing. I'm in recovery. And 7 years ago, this dream that I was building with my family, again, the rug was ripped out from underneath me when I realized that my marriage was toxic. And like I said before, I don't do anything small. So I broke down a life that wasn't working. I left with my 2 beautiful children and started my life over. Completely over. I switched jobs. That's when I stopped being an attorney. I switched jobs. I switched careers. I switched playgrounds and schools and friends and communities. And I was at a loss. And I thought to myself, other people are happy, joyous, and free. And I prayed, and the answer came, I can have that. I just have to model what they're doing. So I started at ground zero. When was I the strongest? When I swam. When I was supported by a team, I started swimming again. I wanted to rebuild myself physically. I started using premium nutrition, and I got myself into the best shape possible, and I started racing again. So here I am, new town, single mama, getting up at 4:30, going down to swim every single morning. I started to race, and I started to win. And not only did I win, but I won big. 12 months after I started, I raced in Pan Am Masters, which is a world championship race for the Masters division in swimming. I broke and set a world record in my event using these tools that I now use to coach my executive clients. And that erased that story. I also hired a life coach. I knew where I was, I knew where I wanted to be, and I wanted to collapse the obstacles. So I dove in deep to self-development. I didn't hire one life coach. I hired a total of 4. And it worked so well. I studied, I got certified, and I began placing goal after goal after goal in front of me and achieving all of them. And with that, I rebuilt my life. Is it hard? Yeah. Is it worth it? Hell yeah. Every day I get up and I'm building this life in 6 years. I had nothing 6 years ago. I told you, I switched my careers. I didn't have a career. We had terrible credit. In fact, the only way I could move was to pay a year upfront in rent. I didn't have the funds to buy. And so for 6 years, I just worked on myself and worked on switching this internal negative dialogue to live in a happy, joyous, and free place. And it works. It works. I changed my story. I no longer saw myself as a failure, but someone that has risen up out of the muck. And once you're doing the next right thing, it fuels you, it builds your self-esteem, it helps you move forward. And I began my own career, my own business in coaching, workshops. I have a strategic partner, so we do workshops for kids, teens, tweens, and adults that are a 90-minute workshop pairing mindset with movement to get people out of their heads, connect to their souls, and empower their life. And the retreat was phenomenal. And now I'm getting on stage and being able to reach people, corporate boards and all different types of people, because we're all the same and we all struggle and we all have this negative trash talk. So how do we on a consistent basis turn one voice down and turn the other up?
Absolutely. So I really appreciate you sharing about your story. I know I was touched when I first learned a little bit about, your past and what you went through. And I do know that you just recently bought a new house, right? I remember seeing that, you celebrating on social media, how you bought this brand new house, which is super exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So I am a badass single home owner.
Yes, you
It
are.
is tremendous. And I'm in the process of decorating it room by room.
Yeah, but that's the fun part, right?
Right.
So we're going to take a short break. So if you don't mind hanging on a moment, Sara, we're going to come back. And I know you have some strategies, or what we like to call ninja tips, to share with the audience so they can learn how to have the power to believe as well. So
That
hang
sounds
tight.
great.
Do you have a story of courage, strength, and perseverance? Would your business benefit from having a more engaging brand, delivering a more powerful message, and attracting more loyal clients? If so, we invite you to join our Overcoming Mediocrity team today. Our authors not only enjoy the benefit of having an Amazon best-selling book easily and economically, they also get boosted credibility and added visibility as their books are distributed to audiences across the globe. Visit omapply.org to learn more. And while you're there, be sure to grab our signature story brand escalation checklist to identify where to use your story to strengthen your brand, deliver a stronger message, and up-level your business. Once again, that is www.omapply.org.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Christy and Sarah, and we are talking about how to really kind of build our belief system so we can create anything we want in life, just like Sarah did. And you, Sarah, have put together this Power to Believe Toolbox. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Sure. Thank you, Christy. And thank you, everybody that's listening. The power to believe to me is that whisper that you hear inside your gut. You know, Christy, let me ask you a question. Have you ever gotten a message from your gut?
Absolutely.
And has it ever been wrong?
It's only wrong when I don't follow it, when I don't listen, right?
Exactly.
When I don't listen, I'm like, well, gosh darn it. Why did I not listen to my intuition?
Exactly. It's never wrong. But it's not, where do you hear it? Do you hear it in your head?
No.
No, it's like an internal, or it kind of surrounds you, this message. So how do we stop listening to our head and listen more to our intuition, which to me means connect with your soul, connect with your higher power, because those answers are always right. So the way I did it, and the way I like to speak about it to other people through coaching or just organically, is you first have to build your foundation, right? We first build our foundation. So we determine your core values, and it can't be a lot. There's tons of values you want to stand for, but what are your top 3 to determine who you are and what you stand for? And once you get that, and there's different ways you access it, you think about it, we learn 3 different ways: kinesthetically, verbally, or auditory and visually. So you tie those 3 in together to what your core values mean, what they feel like to you. And that's your space. That's your essence. That's your gut. Now, you can find that space, and then you go out, and maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's 10, maybe it's an hour, maybe it's 2 hours. You're going to get triggered, right? We get triggered all day long, and we fall out of alignment. So when you fall out of alignment, when you fall into fear or false evidence appearing real, when you get caught up in those stories in your head that produce anxiety, overwhelm, jealousy, resentment, anger, any emotion that brings you down, that's low vibing, how do you get back into alignment? And there's tools that we all have within us. We just haven't been taught, listening to the voices in your head, using the power of breath. Faith is my favorite, because whenever I can't handle anything, it's such a relief to be able to pass it off and say, help me with this, show me the path, and I'll follow. So once you determine your foundation, and then when you get knocked out of alignment, you know how to get back in. How do you empower? And that's the best part of all, is literally not letting life just happen to you. Taking charge and ownership of your life. Our thoughts create our words create our actions create our habits habits create our character, and our character creates our destiny. So isn't it time that we took charge of those thoughts? And that's what, thirdly, we can do with the power of the I am statement, and stepping into our greatest characteristics that we all have. We just haven't been conditioned to say them out loud, to stand in them, to live them. And then the fourth thing we do after we've empowered our mindset and we're vibing high is manifest. When you are connected with your soul and when your energy, and once you learn it, it's such an easy thing to do, to switch the energy back, switch it back, switch it back. And you can be vibing high, and then you manifest your goals. You put your wishes into the universe and they come back for you. And it's incredibly amazing.
All right. So I was writing things down, but can we go over the 4 points again? Because I've
Sure.
got the core values is 1.
Determining your foundation. And I
Okay.
do that through core values.
Okay.
Your foundation, who you are and what you stand for.
Perfect. And then what was 2 again?
2 is fear. Okay. Fear is going to come in, and anything that is fear-based that keeps you playing small, that keeps you, it's when the anxiety, overwhelm, anger, resentment, jealousy come in that knock us out of alignment. And then we get caught up in our heads and we don't do the next right thing, or we don't go after our goals.
So I have a little sign I made by my desk for fear, and it says face everything and rise.
Yep. Exactly.
Because I don't like the other one. I don't like the other acronym for that. Okay. So we have your foundation, your fear. What was 3?
Empower.
I've got that. And then 4 is manifest.
Yes.
Wonderful. Love that. So those are your 4 steps of kind of how you help people be able to create these new beliefs and bring them to life, right? That's the manifest part, is bring them to life.
And then I even use them, as you've been so wonderful working together, that I recently just lost my dad, and it knocked me out of alignment huge. It disrupted my schedule. It disrupted my life. It disrupted my mindset. And so I had to go back to the basics. I had to go back to the basics of self-care, tuning into me, using these tools to be able to gain the energy to move forward with clarity and wisdom.
I love that. Clarity and wisdom, because we get caught up in whatever we're going through, and we do lose clarity, and we make decisions in a more reactive state as opposed to a more creative state. And we can't be creative if we're not practicing self-care.
Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful. All right. Well, this is really good. Do you have anything else you want to share? Because I know you've got this amazing gift that you want to give our audience access to. But before we talk about what that is there anything else what you want to share with the audience that can really help them manifest a better life?
Yes. Whatever you're going through, whatever's holding you back, find time and carve time out for yourself to be still, to be quiet, because that's the only time you can access that whisper within. And just ask, show me the path and I'll follow. And ask if you have a certain goal, or you have a certain something that you want to do, or something you want to attain, ask. And then frickin' do it. Do whatever it takes to get there, because playing small gets you nowhere. And the world needs to see you shine. The world needs to see your light. And when you decide to shine, you give permission to everybody else to shine.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. I know women sometimes have a hard time with kind of taking the limelight and playing big, right? Because they don't want to outshine the people they love, or they don't want to be seen as being egotistical. But honestly, the more successful and the more happy and the more abundance we bring to our life, we can bring that to other people, and we give other people permission to do the same.
Yep.
And that is so important to me. And as women, that should be high on our priority lists, is to set a great example for not only our family and friends, but just people that are watching us.
Exactly. I have a one of my favorite quotes. Do I have time to read it?
Yes,
Can I read
you
it?
do.
Okay. I'm trying to find it. Give me 1 second.
While you look for it, I am going to share about your gift. I'm going to, the gift is it's 5 healthy, sustainable tips to thrive in the midst of change. And you have created this amazing training to help people navigate this on their own. It's a free training, and the link for that gift will be in the show notes below. So you just have to click that and grab it.
Okay. And I'm going to leave you with this. And the 5 healthy, sustainable things to help you thrive in the midst of challenge are when you're go back to the basics, just like Mr. Miyagi says, go back to the basics. And from the basics, we can rise up. And this is my favorite quote. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your plain small doesn't serve the world, and there's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to manifest the glory of God that's within us, and it's not just in some of us, it is in every single one of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And with that, I was raised Catholic, so I choose to call my higher power God. It doesn't matter who you believe in or what you believe in, just that you believe, because with the power to believe, you can achieve.
Oh, so good. So good. So if you listened to this episode and learned something from Sara or were inspired by her words, I really encourage you to share those with other people, somebody you know, somebody you love, maybe just the next person you cross paths with, because we retain more by teaching others, and you're going to bless them and their lives. In addition, if you like our podcast, please make sure you subscribe, show us some love, send us a rating, give us a review, do whatever you can to help us continue to grow our show, because the more love we get from you, the more chances we have to continue to bring in amazing guests like Sara. So thanks, Sara.
Oh, thank you so much, Christy. Thank you for everything. I mean, you are seriously amazing. You guys, this woman I have learned so much from in a shortish amount of time. She can rise you up and level you up.
Awesome. Thanks, Sara. And thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you on the next show.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Overcoming Mediocrity podcast, where we believe that everyone can have the business and life of their dreams once they've learned the art of mastering their story. Mastering our stories is the key to everything we want in life. Our stories can either hold us back or they can propel us to new heights. We can choose. You can choose. Choose to overcome mediocrity with us. Let's achieve greatness together. To learn more, visit www.overcomingmediocrity.org. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast.